Hello, welcome to DeKalb Talks Tourism, and we're very excited with this podcast today to have Honey Van De Kreke as our guest. Honey, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, James. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about Tucker Day. I grew up in Tucker. As a matter of fact, I graduated from Tucker High School. Lived there all my life, with the exception for 3 years I lived in New York. And
how'd you get to New York?
I got married, and he lived in New York, and so in order to have a successful marriage, I decided I'd better go up there.
But then you bring him down here.
I did, because it was just one of those things. And frankly, New York's a great state, and there's all kinds of good stuff up there, but I just love Tucker, and we came right back to it. And we've been here for a long time, and my husband and I were in the manufacturer's representatives for sound and video gear. And we did that for a number of years, and but I still lived in Tucker, and I got involved, and I'm the new president of the Tucker Civic Association as of February.
Nice.
And yes, and I'm also on the Tucker Business Association. I was the president of that for 4 years. And I'm pretty involved in things that are going on, all things Tucker here. In fact, everybody tells me that's been around him, if I get any some kind of volunteers, they'll say, get away from her as quick as you can, because she'll work you to death. And I will, because I can find all this great stuff that needs to happen. So when we redid the rejuvenated, I guess this proper word for, not Tucker Day, but downtown Tucker on Main Street, we shrunk it from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. And we widened the sidewalks and gave new picture fronts to everything, that new facades for the businesses there. And while people complain about not having where to park, they come there, and anytime from 2000 to 2011, they could have parked parallel because nobody came downtown. So the revitalization worked. And I've been doing Tucker Day now since 2003. So this is my 20th. Oh my!
Wow.
Now this is of me running it, but I worked a long time with the Atlanta JCs, and who they started they started Tucker Day I don't know who started it, but they started in 1956.
Wow.
And so this is our 67th year of Tucker Day.
67 years of Tucker Day. Wow, that is an amazing. Just curiosity, are you one of the oldest festivals in DeKalb? Any idea?
You know, I try to stay away from the oldest of anything if I can. But I think we are. I can't think of anything else that's any older than Tucker Day.
That's pretty cool, though.
I thought it was cool, too.
Ah.
But the best part about this is that everybody that has lived in Tucker and has stayed in Tucker for any length of time knows about it. And we've got all these new people coming in now, and they go, this is great. So this year, we decided that we would probably get up into the 21st century. And we went with we had so many good volunteers before. And we did things the old-fashioned way. We just, if you called it in, we took in money and all the other stuff, and we worked on spreadsheets. This year we decided we'd get in the 21st century, and so we hired a new software company, and they came in, they're doing it so you can sign up online, pay online, and everything. It makes it much easier for everybody. And so everybody's working on the same list and everything. So this year it's on Saturday, May the 6th. And it never rains on Tucker Day, and I'm knocking on wood even as we speak, okay?
Never rains on Tucker Day.
Doesn't rain on Tucker. We do not allow that. God loves Tucker, and he knows better than let it rain, because we don't want to lose anybody. But our events held rain or shine. We have 3 sound stages, as we've always had. Well, now let me rephrase that. We used to have 4, and we got a little complicated. So then we moved down to 3, and we took the children's kids' play area. And we put them down to where they had where they had plenty of room, and we took away one of the sound stages. So now we have 3. They're all covered, and so it's good for the musicians. And we have on the main stage at La Vista. This is just the best. They have a lady to come and talk about. Her name is Lady T, and she dresses the part. She's just 50s and 60s blues and jazz and old-time rock and roll. And if you close your eyes, you'd swear that she was Aretha Franklin, I swear. And I happen to love Aretha Franklin, so I knew exactly what she'd sound like. But she's a beautiful lady, and she does a great job, and she entertains. And so she fills in when we change the musicians on the stage. So she fills in for 15 minutes or so. And last year, it was our first year that we had her, and she was just great. So, and Tucker just warmed up to her in no time at all.
So Tucker Day is located where?
On Main Street in Tucker. And it's from 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Don't worry about eating. There'll be plenty of food. There's plenty to eat. There's plenty to drink. And I think everybody just has a really, really good time. I really do.
So it's on Main Street in Tucker, and it has the side streets that it's part of.
It does. Lindburn, which is, if you're familiar with Tucker at all, is Lindburn. It comes off of La Vista, and it's one way, and it exits behind the Baptist Church. So they're on Lindburn, and then the next one down is First Avenue, and that runs east and west. It runs from Fellowship to Fourth Avenue, as a matter of fact. And but it runs, and so that's where the children's area will be, and everything is indeed online, so you can't get lost. So if you go to tuckerday.com, it'll give you the map. It'll tell you where to enter. It'll tell you who's going to be performing that day. We have lots and lots of food people. We have lots and lots of musicians who come back year after year. They can't wait to see it happen. I will tell you that the festival, that's the parade that's on there now. That's the parade. And it's a big deal. I mean, it truly is a big deal. However, no longer can we have cars in the parade. It's a little complicated now. But this was taken prior to the revitalization of downtown Tucker. So we did a little bit of a road diet. But you can see how many people show up, and I tell you, it truly is a great thing. If you've ever been to Tucker or DeKalb County, you will indeed want to come to Tucker Day, because you're going to see people that you haven't seen for a long time, and usually they're already there.
Well, the nice thing about seeing this is you're seeing all the food booths, the vendors. You're seeing how many people's out there.
And actually, I know who that is, and it's a girl I went to school with. We had 2 men in a truck, and we have all kinds of things that are going on. We had tractors and balloons. And a long time ago when I first started, I said, we need to jazz this up a little bit. So we had some cartoon characters to come in. And
now, do you still have the antique car show?
We don't take the car show. That's run by the Old Tucker Merchants Association. I think that's right.
Bubbles. So what's some of the premier events you're going to have this year? I know you said there was an entertainer from last year coming back this year. But
we have lots of return entertainers. I mean, we truly do, because they love to come to Tucker Day.
Do you have any headliners that you would call headliners for the day?
That's not me. I don't know. No. I truly don't. Rocky Ball, who is a great, he's an entertainer. He is one of the he's a banjo player in Ruby Reds. And so he's also our resident artist. He does all our graphics and everything for us. So this year we decided to be out of this world, and we just had such a good time with this. And so this year we've got all kinds of our T-shirts. We sell the T-shirts with the logos and all of our sponsors on the back of the shirt, so that we want our sponsors to be rewarded for somehow for their participation. And then we do Out of This World, and we try to make the T-shirts as lively as we possibly can. And everything is done by people in Tucker. So we have people that make our T-shirts. We have people that do our graphics for us. We have people that all of our everything is done by Tucker people. Because what good's Tucker Day if you're not rewarding the people that have invested in Tucker?
Oh, that's true. Well, I love how the designer came out with like the Jetson theme.
Yeah, that was.
Like, that's pretty cool.
And our Rocky Ball is he's just a delightful person, and he's a great artist. And so every year we try to start this as early as we can, so we know what our theme is going to be and our colors and all the rest of it. And we usually start in September.
Very cool. How'd you get involved with Tucker Day?
Well, let's see. How did I get involved? Well, I'll tell you, if you want to know the real truth, and not that this is that kind of a podcast, however, but the deal is that I was asked by Chip Kofer, who is Cofer Brothers in Tucker, and the JCs had run it for so long, and they were aging out. As a lot of the volunteer organizations now, as people get older, then it's hard to recruit young people because they've got young kids and stuff. It takes a little bit of time to make all that happen. So Chip was I was president of the Tucker Civic, and I was also in the Tucker Business Association at that time. And he asked me, he said, why don't you come and help the JCs? He said, we're getting a little long in the tooth here. And I said, because when you've done something ever and ever and ever, if something works, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, I don't happen to think that way.
I was gonna say my favorite thing is if it's still working, break it, and make it better.
That's right. That's exactly correct, and I agree with that. So we had a great time when we were doing it, and so we went in and we changed it up a little bit, and but it took everybody in Tucker to get on board with that. But because of my association and the Civic Association and the Business Association, and I was also trying to help in recruiting new businesses in. I just kind of felt like the JCs did that was not, they were there because it's a fundraiser for them. It's still a fundraiser for Main Street Tucker Alliance. And if you don't know what Main Street Tucker Alliance is, when you come to Main Street in Tucker, we have we revitalized the whole area. And when we first started that, the traffic calming and getting, wider sidewalks and bringing in new facades for the buildings and things, we decided that what we could do was to make sure that everybody had an equal footing. So I just went out and said, they said that the businesses on Main Street didn't care about Tucker Day because it just messed up their sales. I said, well, we need to turn that around, guys, because this is Tucker. These are our merchants. They've invested in Tucker, and they need to have this turned around. So I went door to door, and I said, all right, so this is what we're going to do. And we did. And they came in, and I said, you need to advertise how many people are there. And every year it just grew and grew and grew. And since we have changed Main Street, we have lots of new people on Main Street. And it's an introduction to people that have never been to Tucker before. It's really an invitation for them to come and see the new things that are on Main Street. And we do have a couple of new businesses on Main, and which is really, really wonderful for Tucker. We've got bakeries, we've got cookie people, we've got all kinds of people now. And Local 7, who's been a staple there's just such great help. And Ford's Barbecue and Village Burger. I mean, we have lots in Las Colinas. And remember, this is May 6th, so Cinco de Mayo is the night before.
Oh, okay. Perfect timing.
It is perfect timing. So anyway, and the city of Tucker is actually helping because they're going to have a concert on the 5th of May in the park. So I'm sure that it just needs to be a holiday weekend.
Sounds like it.
It is, and we're really excited to have all of our sponsors and everybody to come in and talk to us about it.
So what's some of your favorite activities that's going to be this year? Or just some of your favorite activities maybe over several years? I just like
I don't know that I've got an activity. It's the feeling that I have. I love to see people come in and have a good time. And when people are having a really good time, and the musicians have a good time, and the vendors have a good time, and the sponsors, if they're going to come, and they're going to have a good time too. And I think it just promotes that sense of community, and that's what we're there to do.
So what's some of the feedback you get from everyone? I mean, they're having a good time. What are they telling you about Tucker Day?
I'll tell you what one of our vendors is. I don't want to say who it is, but we have one vendor. He makes more money at Tucker Day than he does at the Yellow Daisy Festival at Snow Mountain.
Wow. And
that's a big to-do, let me tell you, because that's a 3-day event. And he comes, in fact, he pays up front. He won't even wait until the next year to pay. He just pays us every year. He comes in, hands us cash, and he says, I'll be back next year. So that's what he does for his booth fee. And we don't overcharge our vendors. We want to make sure that they're making money. We want them to be happy with what they've got to sell. And while we don't, some of our stuff is actually juried, and some of it's not. It depends on what it is they're going to sell. But if we don't think that everything has to be either handmade, it cannot be just merchandise that's purchased somewhere and brought in. It's got to be handmade. And we have a lot of vendors that return that, and we'll have the Arts Alliance there. They'll have a booth there also where they're Tucker is a really and truly a huge. We've got a huge number of people that live in Tucker who are artists. We have poets, we have writers, we have film people. And nobody knows it because everybody just it's just what we do because it's Tucker. And I can't tell you that sense of community. To me, I think it's just wonderful, and I love it.
So while you were talking, I'm trying to actually think of what question I wanted to ask. So you're talking about the arts and the arts and crafts that's there, and everything has to be homemade and handmade. Tell us a little bit about the food vendors. I mean, you got the great restaurants downtown you've already talked about,
Yes, we do.
but what's some of those food vendors that's coming that would be unique and special?
Well, this year, I used to be in charge of all of the food vendors. However, we turned that over because I decided that you can look at my face, and I love to eat, so it's a good thing. And so we have a lot of food trucks this year, and this is going to be a first for Turkish Day because we've had some food trucks in the past, but most of them are just tent people, like barbecue people and whatever, where they can have a grill or whatever, and then they can be fresh cooked right there. Last year we had a Tucker Meat Market was there last year, and they just sold out of everything. They had no idea how much it was going to be there, and they sold out of all their sliders. And in fact, they had to send back and say, "Bring in more," because they didn't have enough food. We have lemonade people for the kids, and we've got donuts this year, little mini donuts. We've got all kinds of stuff, and we do frozen sweets. But most of our food vendors will have somebody from Vietnam, Vietnamese food. I'm not sure exactly what all they're going to serve because I don't. I'm sure that'll be a big to-do. And they were specifically asked to be in the children's area. So that's good for them. We want everybody to make money. I mean, that's the whole point. And we're trying to expose new things to our clientele every year.
So you mentioned the children's area. What's some of the big things that the kids could look forward to doing?
Well, we have a bouncy house, which kids always love that. And there's going to be some contest, and that's going to be down at I have to think about it, the east end of First Avenue. So, and they're going to have like half of that in through there. And so they'll have bouncy houses. They have cornhole and some other things they're going to be doing. And I don't know all the things. We had their meeting last night, and they didn't let Tom Edmondson, who is the senior pastor at First Christian Church of Atlanta, to elaborate on what he was doing. But the biggest thing I think is they have a scavenger hunt. Oh. And so whoever comes in with the most, they have everybody's going to participate. They have to give them something, and they give them a checklist. For instance, in the MTA booth, we're giving out anything that's got Tucker Day on it, and we'll have keychains this year, and we'll also have little tattoos that they can put on the back of their hands, and that'll be that's what they're taking. We've got Tucker Civic, for instance, is giving out kind of like a cartoon book that children can color, be black and white that they can color, and they have to turn that in. All they have to do is just take it back, and they give them a checklist of everything they're supposed to have. So what does that do? That guarantees that the children and their parents will go and visit all the booths that are there. And I think that's really good because, sometimes you just pass stuff up and don't pay as much attention as you might want to. No. You can be overloaded.
So I know putting on an event this large, you must have a lot of volunteers you work with.
Oh, I do, and they're just awesome. Every one of them. We have the Optimist Club that runs the Marion and Albert Steele, who run the parade every year, and that's an undertaking right there because I think this year we're going to have 16 or 18 participants in the parade. And then we're going to have, and we don't know yet because I think we're going to have some politicians be coming in.
Ah.
And next year it'll be even worse because next year it'll be election year. It'll be even worse. Yeah. That's good because it just brings everybody out. It's a fine thing. And then, but Mary and Albert Steele are just a long time. Kathy Forrester, who doesn't actually live in Tucker any longer, she loves Tucker Day and she loves MTA and she understands it. So she's doing all of our PR work for us on Facebook and Instagram and all the other stuff. In fact, she's doing such a great job that we've had a 1626 percentage in new views and returns. That's extremely high. And what we try to do is we try to advertise all of our sponsors. So they'll be there this year, and then so Kathy Forrester and Marcia Ashby, who does all of the computer work, and she's been working with me for a long time because she's my next door neighbor, and I realize this might be too much information, but she's my next door neighbor. And when she first moved here, the kids were all little and everything, and I said, do you ever do any volunteer work? She said, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I put on Tucker Day and I need somebody to do something. And she said, I can do that. That's how you get sucked in. So as my friend Charlton Allen says, he says, don't get too close to her, she'll work you to death. So, and then Bob Espy, who's taken over sponsoring, he's taken over most of the day-to-day operations on that. And we've got Jonathan Clark, and he and I have been working on getting sponsors for Tucker Day, because none of this works if we don't have the money to have the site, because this is a fairly expensive feat to put on when you've got all these musicians that some of them play for nothing because they just want the exposure, but most of them we pay, and most of them, like I said, most of them come back every single year, and they're good. Let's see who else. Charlton Allen, who is the Charlton, and I were the co-founders of the Main Street Tucker Alliance, who's the sponsor and hosting for this. Marion Heston here in Tucker does all of our insurance for us. They'll be the event sponsors, and Harriet Guess, who does all. She's taking over selling the T-shirts and all of our things at the booth. We have T-shirts for sale, keychains for sale. So we've got all kinds of little tchotchkes that people like to have, little mementos. They're not meant to be, and we've got we have several T-shirts that we call vintage, because they didn't sell them all. There might only be one or two of them left, but we put them out every year. If somebody wants them, we're more than happy to take. This year, what we're going to do, though, if you go to tuckerday.com, we're actually going to have a merchant store put on there to buy the T-shirts, and we're going to have keychains and several other things that will be for sale. So so if you can't come to Tucker Day and you want to buy something, we have not worked all that out quite yet, but we're working on it currently.
So tuckerday.com is your source for what time the events are going on, what type of concerts are going to be there, what the different food booths. So it's kind of tuckerday.com kind of gives you everything you want to know about the event coming up on May the 5th.
Correct. May the 6th.
May the 6th. Well, good thing we can fix that. So Tucker Day, May the 6th.
Yes, Tucker Day, May the 6th. And I'm really good. I'm really good at proofreading too.
So do you know any type of? Have you all started talking about the future of Tucker Day? Do you want to expand it, or is there any type of new activities you want to bring in, or can you even talk about that?
I think we're going to have to wait till next year.
Okay.
Because I think that we're going to have some new people coming in next year, and we've all got new ideas. But again, if anybody's got any ideas and they want to just come in and volunteer, just to help out. By the way, I have to mention, I forgot the Boy Scouts. We have Boy Scout Troop 129, who they come and they pick up all the trash. They put stuff away. They help anybody that they can. They're also our ambassadors, so to speak. So they hold the caution flags up so that when the parade's going on, and they're just extraordinary. And I also mentioned, I forgot this, that we did this last year, and everybody just loves this. We have a battle of the bands. So the Tucker High School battles out with the feed and seed of Bond Wolves every year right after the parade, and it's up at the north end of up towards Tucker High School, right in front of the main stage. And that is a big, big, big event. If you've seen the feed and seed, they're just lots of fun. So you want to make sure that you don't miss that. And I think that we're looking, that'll just be after the parade ends. I don't know exactly what time that will be.
So La Vista's still open, but Main Street is
open. Main Street's shut. And I probably should mention this. If you're on a bicycle or car, a scooter, anything, nothing on wheels can come on Main Street. It will be posted. And we have the police there every year. And so this year we asked them not to don't be too difficult with them. But this year we've had some people who don't want to follow the rules, and so this year if you're riding anything, you're going to get cited for it. So we don't want any bad press. So just don't do it. I mean, that's a good way to just don't do it. Period.
That's true.
It is true.
Well, I think our listeners and viewers are going to want to know the most important question of the day. I've called you Honey several times.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, what is your real name?
My real name is Honey. That was my given name. And as I tell everybody that, and everybody says, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I'm going, "Okay, that is." But the thing is, they said, "How'd you get that name?" I said, "My mother and father really had a good sense of humor, and I'm the recipient of it." Because all my life I've said my real name is Honey. And everybody says, "Is that?" In fact, I'll give you one little short quip about Honey. I was standing at our booth one time, and this lady came up and she says, "Who is Honey Van De Kreke?" And I said, and she's talking to me, and I said, I didn't know who she was. And I said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I need to meet her." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because my name's Honey." And I said, "What?" I said, "Is that your real name?" She said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Are you kidding me? That can't be." And I said, "I've never met anybody whose real name was Honey." And she's a little bit older than I was, but it was just such fun to meet. And the fact that she came up, she said, "I need to meet Honey." And she was from Tucker, and I had no idea who she was.
So you're both living in Tucker, and that part I missed.
I didn't know that at the time. This has been several years ago. I don't know where she is now. But she's great.
Well, I know I met you like 12 years ago, and at first I'm like, what's her real name? Because
yeah, I know. Honey and Baby and Sweetie are just not, that's not politically correct any longer.
yeah, because that's why I started thinking I better bring up that I'm not calling her Honey. It is her name, Honey.
And I will tell you something funny. I was talking to Jennifer Green at Blue Ribbon Grill, and she said that she'd gotten a complaint from one of her customers who had said that they had a server there who they thought a lot of, and I did too. And she said she got a complaint. I said, "What in the world are they complaining about?" She said, "Because she called them Honey and Sweetie and Baby." And I said, "Well, I've been called that all my life, and this has never offended me. And I love it when somebody calls me Honey or Sweetie or whatever. I think that's a sign of endearment, and I think if we all had just a little bit more endearment towards everybody, we wouldn't have this conflict in the world." And I'll leave it at that. How's that?
Is there any type of closing remarks you want to make about Tucker Day, or your favorite story about Tucker Day, or anything?
My favorite story about Tucker Day, I think that what we try to do is we try to have fun every single year. Every year, and if the committee that's putting this on has a good time, I think it can be assured that the people who are going to attend will be a good time. I don't really have a favorite story because I just do them year after year after year, and there's not really one thing that stands out. But I've just had such a good time over the 20 plus years I've done all this, and I love to meet new people in Tucker and new people in DeKalb County too. I mean, I just think that, and we're inviting everybody to come, and I'm hoping that they'll come and stay in Tucker, in our hotels in Tucker, which I know help you and helps Tucker.
Definitely.
But I think this is a really, really good event for Tucker, and we'd like to have everybody show up. We'd like to make this the biggest one we've ever had.
Well, we hope that happens. And you say it never rains on Tucker Days.
No, it doesn't rain on Tucker Days.
So you can plan May 6th. There will be not any rain. It'll be beautiful for Tucker Day.
It will be beautiful, and that's what we're talking about. Okay.
Well, Honey, thanks for being on our podcast. We really appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks, James. This is a great sponsor, and we really appreciate your enthusiasm for Tucker Day.
Well, thank you. Thank you.